Yo, what up, Street Talks? Eric Kim. Alright, the thought. The thought is how to become more tolerant. So, the notion of tolerance is actually kind of interesting. So, you remember back in the day when we were kids, it seemed like in the American school system, at least in California where I'm from, the gist was this. We should be more open to and more tolerant of others, diversity, blah blah. Now the funny thing is, it looks like the talk has actually changed and shifted a little bit, insofar much as the talk now is more about acceptance than tolerance, which is interesting because to me the meaning is actually quite different. So like let me basically explain. So tolerance means tolerans from Latin. It actually comes from Proto-Indo-European. I forget the words, like tear or something. But the basic gist is to carry, to bear, to endure. In Vietnamese, there's an interesting word I learned from Cindy called chịu khó. Chịu means bear, khó is difficulty. So that actually is quite accurate to me in terms of just thinking about the whole thing, because to tolerate the view of others isn't like it's kind of like the whole gist is like, I don't like it, but I'll let it slide, because you know, if one is tolerant, one is open-minded enough to understand that what is best for you isn't what's best for others, and what's best for others isn't what's best for you. And it essentially means that you're not going to superimpose your beliefs and your whatever to others. And so for example, you know, I love to eat meat, right? So I'm not going to force my vegan or my vegetarian friends to eat meat against their own will. I'm like, yo, you just do you, right? Like, I like to eat meat, you like to eat vegetables. That's cool. We could both live together in harmony, right? And whereas this is where things kind of get a little bit strange, is that when some people become intolerant, so for example, if you're an intolerant vegetarian or intolerant vegan, you think that everybody on the planet should become vegetarian or vegan, and you will not tolerate others to eat meat. Now, to me, this is not so good, because then that's actually what tyranny is, or becoming a tyrant. The tyrant is actually to physically force people against their own will to do something or to not do something. And yeah, so the basic gist is when you're tolerant, you're open-minded that to other people's way of living and stuff like that. And actually the whole like diversity statement should be kind of about that, where you kind of respect others insofar much as you recognize that everyone has different modes of living, and we should all be open-minded to each other. Now, to me, this is where I think American ideals should be the best, insofar much as we should be the most tolerant and open-minded country. But I think in actuality, this is where I don't like where America's going right now, is that it's becoming profoundly intolerant towards everybody. So for example, like, you know, you got the PC police, right? Oftentimes people want to nitpick. People know what you mean to say, but for some reason they're just trying to change your lexicon to speak the way that they want you to speak. And I'm like, yo, that's you know, like, certainly I don't want to trample on nobody else's feet, but like a lot of times when people start to nitpick you for saying or doing this, but then they very much know what you meant to say, to me that's just people just being kind of like a little bit petty and being silly. But anyways, so what are we to do about this? So to become more tolerant, just some basic thoughts. spend more time just like kind of like listening to people. And it's funny, there's a difference between listening and obeying. To listen to somebody else is to just kind of give them the chance to voice their opinions, whereas obeying them is to do as they say, right? So for example, you know, I am personally not for veganism. I'm in praise for a more carnivorous diet, so I just eat a lot of meat. But whenever I meet somebody who is a vegan or vegetarian, I'm just kind of more curious about like why they decide to become a vegetarian or vegan or whatever. And so I'll ask them, I'm like, okay, so you know, what motivated you, or why did you become a vegetarian vegan? And I'll just ask them a lot of why questions. And I'm not gonna be like, yo, veganism, vegetarianism is stupid, meat rules, bro. I'm like, that line of thinking is not very effective. And also what I'm trying to realize too, at least with the whole vegetarian veganism diet thing, is that I'm not that actually interested in changing other people's dietary, exercise, lifestyle habits. I'm like, why do I care, right? It's like, everyone should be allowed to live however they want to live. But often what I try to do is I try to expose other people to ideas which have helped me personally in the past, in the hope that it might help others. Now, it's not always guaranteed that what's been beneficial to me is going to help others, but at least I like to try to expose people to new ideas, because I mean, you know, I like to think I'm a good person. I like to think that I have good ideas and I want to help empower others. So that's why I do it. But once again, the whole take it or leave it notion is actually quite good, or just giving your 2 cents. So, and actually, I found that if your true intention is actually to change people, it's not to tell people, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. It just explain to people what you do and why you do what you do. And actually, like, kind of more the Socratic method too, is that like, if you're going to talk to other people about their lifestyle habits, whatever, just keep asking them why. And if you find a huge logical fallacy in their argument, just keep asking them why they believe in that, and then, you know, offer up certain suggestions which could contradict their position. Or even, I think Karl Popper might have done this too, where if you actually want to engage in a generative and productive debate, get to know the other side's opinions very, very well if you actually want to strengthen your own opinion. So any kid who's done like kind of like debate class or whatever, I mean, I never did it, but I just learned this from my own personal life experiences, is that, so for example, if one is going to critique Islam or the Quran or whatever, one should read the whole Quran front to back, right? Similarly speaking, if one is going to critique Christianity or Catholicism or Judaism, whatever, one should read the whole holy book front to back. Or, you know, like, you know, if you really, really want to be into politics, right? Bro, you gotta listen to both sides. You gotta listen to the liberals, conservative, Democrats, Republicans, you know, if you're always on NPR and CNN or New York Times, spend equally as much time on, like, you know, Fox News and the, you know, other right-wing things. And then also it's kind of useful to read some of the conspiracy theory websites. One website that I like is zerohedge.com, zerohedge.com. It's some pretty lively thoughts and commentary. Because when people become too one-sided, I think Nietzsche called it hemiphilia or something. Hemi like one side, right? Like hemisphere. Phagilia or paralysis. So it's like become, you know, there's some people like half their face is paralyzed and the other half isn't. So essentially what's happening is half of our perspective or our views is becoming paralyzed and the other half isn't.